Hello, I'm Uzi Baram, and I'm here to welcome you to an exhibit at the Community Gallery at the John and Mable Ringling Museum of Art. Come follow me into the Community Gallery. I'm trained in archaeology, and I was the lead archaeologist on a long-term community-based project that brought forward what we typically call in archaeology as artifacts, but I insist we think of as belongings. Things used by people 200 years ago by the Manatee River. People who came to that area to find freedom from enslavement. And we found and recovered and understood a whole series of objects that you see here, from a coin that firmly dates the community to the early 19th century, to some of the everyday objects that people used, and some of the features, including, in archaeology, we're not just interested in the things, but in the context for those things. And so we spend a tremendous amount of effort in archaeology on stratigraphy, on the exact location for the materials. We have profiles that show the different changes in soils. We look at where things are in relation to each other, both architecturally and through the deposits. And those objects really, in a sense, return to their people when we can say that, yes, they would put in the ground in case of some ritual objects under the house, or in the case of a dog that died and was put into a rectangular box and buried in the ground, some of the actions of people in the past. This archaeological project was able to recover a maroon community, a community of freedom-seeking people, and we're able to discuss the people who were there, the names of these individuals who found liberty by the Manatee River 200 years ago through very careful archaeological excavations and even more so careful laboratory work. And that gives us a vision of these people and the landscape they inherited. The tools of archaeology are shovels and trowels and brushes and notebooks and computer files. But we did this work not for the sake of just knowledge itself, but because there were so many people interested, both in Sarasota, Manatee, individuals who stood forward and said, we need to know about this history, we need to have some details. And as we were finding the details of people's lives, we were working closely with descendants, people who had been in Florida 20 years ago, their descendants now living in the Bahamas, and they came to join us in this endeavor. Maroonage, communities of freedom, were a threat at the time. When the slave regime existed, it did not want there to be knowledge of freedom. And much of what happened here, the hundreds of people who lived by the Manatee River, have been almost lost to the tooth of time. And so part of this work has been to break those silences, to remember those individuals who took such chances, who underwent such hardships, so they and their children and grandchildren and descendants could live in freedom, and were able to piece together from archaeological work, archival work, but most importantly from those communities, both local and descendants, what actually happened. That people starting in the 1770s came to this region, set up a community of freedom, and that others joined them soon in the hundreds. Although it ended in 1821, some escaped to the interior of Florida, more escaped to the Bahamas, and we work with their descendants to break those silences and remember the courage of those people. And as we were doing this project, myself and my team, it is such an honor to have it, not just at the museum, but in the museum's community gallery, because this work is about finding resilience and hope in this history. We have tremendous challenges today, but people 200 years ago, in the very spot we are right now, also faced challenges. They were able to create a world for their descendants. We need to be able to think not just about the past, as archaeology encourages us to, but what's possible for our present and for our future. So I hope these materials and the historic and archaeological information helps to inspire this generation to think about future generations. Thank you for coming with me on this tour of the exhibit at the Community Gallery.